So it's been a couple of minutes since we played with one of these Farmertec chainsaws. Today's project is to get this one running a little better. That you just saw is not a good example of running right. The current symptoms are that it revs too high and it doesn't idle, but that's a little bit irrelevant. The real problem is that I can't get the carburetor to behave right. If I address those problems, new problems crop up. So let's tear into it. So this is the same chainsaw that has appeared in numerous previous videos. It was exhibiting some odd behavior and a very hard start, and so I tore it apart and I rebuilt the top end. And on the first test run after that rebuild, a portion of the brand new piston broke off and dropped into the bottom end and mucked all that up. So then I tore it apart again and cleaned up the bottom end. I reassembled the top end without replacing that piston with the piece missing from the piston skirt. I'm theorizing that that missing bit of skirt on the exhaust port side is causing a timing error and at least contributing to these problems. So the cost of a rebuild kit came down to the point where I was willing to spend it, and I've got myself a new piston and cylinder, and we're going to swap those out. Well, check that out. Shame I don't know anything about two-stroke, so that might tell me something. So there's the broken piece of piston skirt I was worried about. And a very distinct burn pattern on top of the piston. And some dark spots on the rings, too. Wonder what that means. Side of the cylinder looks pretty okay. I don't know if you can see this. Down in there is a gouge I cleaned up before I reassembled it. There's no burning or anything happening there, but looks like some of the plating has come off. Alright, new piston and cylinder are on. Seem to be running smooth. Doing this a couple of times. The hardest part is just getting the carburetor boot lined up and clamped on. Everything else is pretty easy. Let's get all the ancillary stuff put back on and see if it made a difference. Place your bets. Well, doesn't want to stay running, but it starts nice. All right. So I got some more tuning to do, but that definitely addressed the issue. The saw is responding to carburetor settings about like you'd expect. I don't want to screw around with it for too long since it isn't broken in. I don't want to get too much heat into that cylinder. I'm gonna let it cool off a little bit, come play with it some more, but I founded the problem. Now it's a matter of just getting it tuned up so it behaves right. But the squirrely nonsense it was doing before, where I just could not get the carburetor to respond the way it should. It was way out of whack and the saw was doing crazy things. That seems to have cleared up. So, thesis confirmed. This was causing my problems. New one's behaving much nicer.